It's that time of year, college expenses, college tuition is due. What sort of expenses are qualified educational expenses that you can use a 529 plan for? I'm going to help you with that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, kids are going back to college. You likely got that tuition bill in the mail and are trying to figure out, okay, what am I using to pay these fees with? And the big question is, hopefully you've been saving up into a 529 plan or a qualified educational savings account. And there's a few different options out there, but in our opinion, the 529 plan makes the most sense for the most number of people. You've got a Roth IRA as an option. You've got the Coverdell or educational IRA as well. UTMA accounts or UGMA accounts, those used to be the thing to do. But all of those have some benefits, but also some drawbacks to saving up for college. The 529 plan, when you know these dollars are dedicated to be used for college expenses, we'll talk about that. The 529 plan offers the most benefits and the least drawbacks, okay? And so that's why you've got to sit down with your certified financial planner, see which account makes the most sense, see how much you should be funding, all of that, what's your goal and everything, and therefore what size, what account fits for you. But most often, it's the 529 plan. Now, the 529 plan from a federal level has certain tax benefits to it. And then certain states add on their own state tax benefits as well. I'm going to do a video coming up about that because Indiana has the very best state tax incentive of all states, and they just improved it. So I've got a video upcoming about that. But at a federal level, when you make a contribution into the 529 plan, you don't get any benefits, okay? You might have a state tax benefit depending on the state you live in, and again, another video on that. If you invest those dollars, and you can, you're going to have a choice of whether you invested in a target date type fund or an individual portfolio, whatever. The growth is all tax deferred, okay? All the activity, it's a tax shelter, tax deferred account. And let's say that's growing over time. When you withdraw those dollars, if you withdraw the growth and use it for a qualified educational expense, tax-free. It's tax-free, okay? And the amount of money that you contributed, your basis, when you use that money, because you never deducted it, it won't be taxable either. If you got a state tax benefit, you're gonna wanna use that for a qualified educational expense as well. So if you don't use it for qualified educational expenses, that growth is taxable and it's penalized pretty hefty at 20% as well. Any state benefits, typically you've gotta pay those back. And so therefore, if you followed any of that, I didn't intend for it to get that complicated, but that's how it works. It's important to know what is a qualified educational expense for a 529 plan, okay? So let's get into what those are. All right, so let's hit the obvious one first, tuition. Yes, tuition at a qualifying or eligible college or university is a qualifying expense for a 529 plan. So what makes it eligible? Well, the college needs to participate in the FAFSA program. So yeah, I mean, not just any school is allowed there, but a tuition for a qualifying college or university, that is a qualifying educational expense. There should be no question about that. That's the clear one. It's the other ones that are confusing. Room and board. Yes. That is a qualifying educational expense for a 529 plan. Room and board. What if you live off campus? Yes, that is still eligible. However, you then need to look and make sure that your off-campus housing and off-campus meals don't exceed the limit. And what is that limit? That is the expected cost of attendance that that university will publish. All universities publish that on their website. This is the expected cost of attendance. Therefore, if you're living off-campus or have off-campus meals, overall, they're saying it shouldn't cost more than this to go to school here and have housing and meals and all that stuff. Therefore, you can't just choose to have your child stay at the Four Seasons and, eat caviar every single meal. Not that you would. This is college, my goodness. They've got to learn hard work. But they've got that cap on there. But room and board expenses, even off campus, those are qualified educational expenses. What about books? We get this question all the time. Yes, books are qualified educational expenses as long as that's a book required for that class or for your college, of course. What about lab fees? Those sorts of things. Yes, those are also covered, okay? What about computers? Now, they went back and forth on this a few years ago, but yes, as long as the college says the student needs a computer in order to attend here, which pretty much all of them do now. My alma mater, Michigan State University, actually says a student needs a functional laptop in order to attend college here. So yes, a computer is a qualified educational expense. What about a printer? Yes, but that child needs to be the one using the primary user of that printer. Yes. What about technology? What about internet? Yes, internet service fees for that user, for that student, those would be educational expenses, qualifying educational expenses as well. All right, now let's hit a couple obscure ones, okay? What about transportation to and from college? Some people, I've actually had someone, we live in the Midwest here, say my son or daughter is actually attending college in Hawaii. What about the cost to get them there? Or my son or daughter actually is attending college in Arizona. They need a vehicle to get to college. Is that a qualifying educational expense? No, it is not. Those are not required. Yes, you've got to be there at college, but the transportation getting to and from college or even while at college, bus fees, that sort of stuff, does not qualify in educational expenses. What about health insurance? Lots of colleges are offering health insurance as well that a student can sign up for in case mom and dad don't have coverage or something like that. And no, that's not a qualifying educational expense either. Get this one from time to time, college applications or testing fees. I'm remembering a great friend of mine from several years ago when the girls were starting to go to college. Lots of applications going out, and the question was, are all of these application fees, $50 here, $100 here, whatever they are, can I reimburse myself from my 529 plan for that? And I remember I had to do some digging and just confirm that no, those application fees are not a qualifying educational expense. Intramural sports, extracurricular activities, lab fees, those sorts of things, that's required, okay? But extracurricular activities, intramurals, those sorts of things, not required and therefore not qualifying educational expenses. All right, so let's hit two more obscure ones here. We're obviously not able to hit every single scenario. Hopefully this gives you the baseline, gives you the information that you need to know, but let's hit two obscure ones. Couple years ago in the Secure Act, they opened up the use case of 529 plans even before, and I think some other legislation as well, beyond just college. These are typically considered college savings accounts, okay? And people like me, oldies, we still refer to them that way, but they're not so much anymore. Two obscure uses that are qualified educational expenses. One, you can actually use your 529 plan to pay for tuition for K through 12 education. Tuition only, okay? And it's up to 10 grand per year. But yes, you could use a 529 plan now for some other expense other than college. But it's got to be tuition only and with a max of 10 grand. And the other obscure one that I've dealt with my entire career, people have asked, well, can I use my 529 plan for student loans? And the answer has always been no, those, you can't. You can only use it for current educational expenses. But the rule changed again, like I mentioned, a couple years ago, and now once in your lifetime, not two, once in your lifetime, $10,000 can be withdrawn as a qualified educational expense from your 529 plan to go towards student loans. Now, I'm trying to think of the situations when you might want to do this, because even though I mentioned that tax deferred growth, that's a federal law and that's how 529 plans work and that's an enormous benefit. Oftentimes people are using 529 plans and also getting a state tax benefit as well. Most states, many states, aren't recognizing a student loan payment as a qualifying educational expense for that state. Therefore, you may have to pay back any state tax benefit that you received. You may, have to pay back any state tax benefit you received if you use your 529 plan money to pay for college, for student loans that you incurred in the past. So be careful, work with your certified financial planner, make sure you understand the unique tax laws of your state and that state's 529 plan before you proceed. But yes, once in your lifetime, you can take up to $10,000 as a qualified withdrawal from your 529 plan at a federal level. Double check it at a state level. All right, so that's a rundown, a summary, some of the high level, most common qualifying educational expenses for the 529 plan. So how's that connect with your situation? Number one, if you're still saving up for college, work with your certified financial planner to identify what your goal is. There's not one size fits all with a college savings goal for your kids or grandkids. So talk to your certified financial planner. You've got to figure out what type of account, how much you should be saving, how that would impact financial aid, and whether that's a consideration in your situation or not. So work with your CFP there. And number two, if you're in the college spending mode, you're helping kids with college, also work with your certified financial planner. See how much you should draw from your 529 plan, how much you should draw from cash flow, how that's going to affect your tax credits, American Opportunity Tax Credit, possibly Lifetime Learning Credit. Work with your certified financial planner on this. This is cash flow, so present financial position. It's tax planning for sure. It's college planning. It's investment planning. This hits many of the 6 areas of financial planning, which is why we're so passionate that you need comprehensive financial planning, looking at all 6 areas of your financial life. How they work together brings synergy, so you can make decisions that do bring synergy to all 6 areas of your financial life. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well. Or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.